Hello folks, now what is certain is that today your choices from the C segment SUV space is very much varied. Unlike before, you even have new electrified hybrid choices from China like this, the GWM Haval H6 HEV. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 key reasons why you should seriously consider this Chinese alternative. Okay, we start with the most clear and obvious aspect of the GWM Haval H6 HEV, and that being its size. This is actually quite a big and sizable offering in segment. In fact, it has some segment leading dimension figures. For context, when compared against the Honda CR-V hybrid that we test drove previously, this Chinese alternative is actually wider, taller, and has a better ground clearance in comparison. Now, for those of you asking, the GWM Haval H6 HEV also has the longest wheelbase in segment, which measures 2,738 millimeters. And that's not all. Another clear indicator of this crossover size is its rolling stock. In fact, where the norm is 17 and 18 inches, this Chinese alternative gives you 19 inches instead. And I think this one looks quite nice too because it's finished in gloss black. Obviously, with the class-leading dimension and size figures I mentioned earlier, it translates into a crossover SUV that has a very large cabin with an equally large, cavernous and practical standard boot space. In fact, as you can see, there's 560 litres of which from the get-go, and that's before you drop the second row seats. I don't know about you folks, but this kind of boot space is plenty enough for me and definitely very practical. Okay, now here's a bit of a bonus. Not only is this a rather big and sizable crossover SUV, it's also rather stylish for its size. I mean, just look at the way how GWM packages everything into the Haval H6 HEV. It features a very nice posh looking front grille flanked by full LED headlights, matched with full width all LED tail lights, those tasty black alloy wheels I mentioned earlier, and a whole lot of other premium touches all around. Overall, I think this Chinese SUV has a very nice stance. Well, I want to know what you think of this Chinese crossover SUV's design. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And now we move on to fact number 2, that being this GWM Haval H6 HEV is fully loaded with loads of luxuries and tech. Now, I like to start with something that I like to call basic luxury, which includes things like keyless entry and ignition, this lovely two-tone soft touch leather covering the seats, the soft touch materials lining the dashboard and door cards, the presence of 2 digital displays starting with this massive 12.3-inch central infotainment touchscreen, which by the way also offers Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, albeit wired. For drivers, you will find a nice and neat 10.25-inch digital instrument LCD panel matched with a heads-up display above which there's even powered seat adjustments up front and a panoramic glass sunroof. Now, apart from everything I highlighted present in the forward half of the cabin, the rear half of the cabin is also very interesting because, as you can see, because of this SUV's size, it's actually quite large, quite spacious and very comfortable. The comfort is bolstered by the leather upholstery I mentioned earlier, as well as the presence of dedicated rear aircon vents and USB charging ports. However, the biggest surprise here is this, the Boss switch for the front passenger seat, and this is accessible for rear passengers. This allows rear passengers to adjust legroom better, and this is definitely a rarity because I've yet to see this in any other C-segment SUV. Obviously, no package is perfect. There will always be hits and misses, and this Haval H6 HEV's cabin is no exception to that fact. Let me show you some of the things I don't like, starting with this copper or rose gold colored insert in the steering wheel, the dashboard, and the door panels. These are a bit Marmite at first, but when matched with this white insert in the dash and door panels, it kind of grows on you over time. But I want to know what you folks think about it, so let me know in the comments below. Beyond which, now what annoys me the most here is the fact that some of the conversion from left-hand drive to right-hand drive wasn't done 100%, namely the USB data port that enables Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's still here on the left, and A small annoyance from which also is the fact that to access Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, I still have to go to the left side of the screen to activate or access it. While I'm here, let me also note that the user interface for this infotainment isn't the greatest on earth either. Now here's another part of the cabin I don't like, and it is specifically the cabin ambient lighting system. While it looks alright in the door panels, once you get into the dashboard part in particular, well, take a look at it for yourself. I don't know what to make of this steampunk looking tattoo thing going on here. What's annoying to me as well is the fact that I can't change the color. However, I do know that there are some of you that actually like this, but let me know in the comments below if this is cool or not. Apart from which, I guess there are some hits to marvel at still. Like, just look at how neat the center console and center stack is designed and arranged, because it's also quite practical with cup holders and a big center storage bin. You also find nifty things like this rotary gear selector dial and an electronic parking brake system with auto hold function, plus a wireless charging pad. But my favorite part here is the fact that GWM still gives you physical controls for the climate control and direct access to the 360-degree parking cam. Now here's another annoyance. One of the key additions present in the Haval H6 HEV are the presence of ventilated front seats. However, despite my best efforts to run them early, run them late, and run them at maximum, I just could barely feel them in the seats. So I think this is one area they could have done better. Lastly, what impresses me most about this Haval H6 HEV's features and kit list is the standard equipped ADAS package, which in my opinion is very comparable to a lot of its key segment rivals. I will only highlight one drawback here, and that is the adaptive cruise control or ACC function in this Chinese alternative lacks a low speed follow function, but otherwise it has ACC, it has LDW, LKAS, BSM, FCW, AEB, the works. In other words, what I'm telling you is that this is another one of those modern SUVs that could almost drive itself. And now we move on to reason number 3, and I think this is arguably the most important one of all, and it lies under the hood. That's because the Haval H6 HEV is one of just a handful present in this segment that has a hybrid powertrain, and it's a very unique one indeed. I say unique because unlike its Japanese peers that pairs a naturally aspirated petrol engine with a CVT transmission along with the hybrid electric system, this Chinese alternative instead uses a peppy 1.5-litre 4-cylinder turbo matched with a DHT or dedicated hybrid transmission featuring 2 ratios. The latter is not a CVT, in fact. Altogether, this package provides very meaty outputs of 243 PS and 530 Nm of torque, all of which enabling equally respectable 0 to 100 km sprint time of just 7.7 seconds. Considering the size of this SUV and its claimed 1,720 kg curb weight, I say that acceleration time is very impressive indeed. What's even more impressive though is the efficiency this package provides. GWM claims this powertrain is able to do, which is about 5.8 litres per 100 km on average. For context and reference, the Honda CR-V hybrid we tested prior does 5 litres per 100 km instead. Now if you ask me, that's not far off. And now we move on to reason number 4, that being this Chinese crossover SUV's rather respectable and decent drive dynamics. Allow me to digress. Firstly, unlike most other hybrid powertrains out there, this Chinese alternative's hybrid system is actually very peppy. I'll be brief though and highlight that there's enough power and torque for just about any and all situations, and both are accessible on demand. So that's quite fantastic. Moving on, what is actually very surprising is how comfortable this SUV drives and rides. Let me start with the latter first, and a lot of which stems from the fact that it has very soft, very supple spring and damper tuning, adding to which is the very noticeably low NVH, noise or vibration harshness levels present in this cabin. Dare I say it, that level of NVH is actually comparable to a Japanese branded contemporary, and I think that is very impressive. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this Chinese alternative also feels quite refined. In terms of the drive dynamics though, well, given its size, dimensions, its bulk, and the fact that it's a tall, high-riding SUV, this is not the sharpest tool in the shed, to put it simply, but it does not drive too badly, it is not too wayward. The steering is soft and precise, the steering is light and precise, and Overall, there's very little to complain or gripe about with the way this car drives. My only complaint stems from the stock equipped Hankook tires our tester is equipped with. Now, I say that because I think these tires are a little bit worn. A few other journalists have already driven this before me, and perhaps if these tires were newer and perhaps from a higher end OEM, the drive dynamics would definitely improve. But otherwise, like I said earlier, I have very little to complain or gripe about with the way the GWM Haval H6 HEV drives. And now we move on to the fifth and final but perhaps most exciting reason to seriously consider the GWM Haval H6 HEV, that being it is very accessibly priced at just 139,800 ringgit. For comparison, the new facelifted Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid is slightly more expensive, but it is also a significantly smaller size car. More importantly, when compared to the rivaling Honda CR-V Hybrid, this Chinese alternative is so much cheaper because that Honda costs closer to 200,000 ringgit instead. Now here's a bonus. The price for this Chinese alternative, which is accessible thanks to the fact also that it is locally assembled or CKD, also comes with a very convincing after-sales package. It starts with, firstly, a 7-year or 200,000 km base vehicle warranty, followed by a 10-year or 1 million km engine warranty, plus an 8-year or 1 million km hybrid system warranty. However, take note, that last two is only limited to the first registered owner. And that's basically everything I can tell you about the GWM Haval H6 HEV. Obviously, as you can see, it is a brilliantly capable and highly equipped package that comes with a very accessible price tag thanks to local assembly or CKD. What is also certain is that this Chinese left-wheel alternative certainly has everything it needs to make its key Japanese and Korean rivals sweat. Well, that's my thoughts. Now I want to know what you guys think of the GWM Haval H6 HEV. Share your take of it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, visit caricarz.com/news for more.